Hey guys, this is Editing Frank. In this episode and moving forward for the next few episodes, you're going to hear us talk about Season 3. So there was a bit of a reshuffle. Season 3 is a new thing, so the following few episodes that you'll hear disregard Season 3. It's like Season 2.5. Anyway, enjoy the show.
And welcome to another episode of Strangers in the Alps, a movie podcast, where every week we discuss movies of all genres, all types. I guess genres and types the same thing.
This is a very special episode, though.
It is because welcome to Season 3.
We made it, y'all.
3. Season 3. Three's in tray. Three's in trois.
In 3D.
That's right. Of Strangers in the Alps, a movie podcast.
The beginning.
I'm Dan.
I'm Travis.
I'm Sam.
And that's Frank.
I'm here.
Frank needs to go return some videotapes.
And so, to kick this Season 3 off, Travis, are you ready to read the back of the VHS tape?
First time ever, he's
Are
ready.
you ready to rock?
I am ready. I'm ready. I've been waiting this whole season break with this VHS tape in my hands. It's frozen. It's combined.
Did you actually watch the movie?
I actually did this time.
All right.
Oh my god.
So,
It's a brand new season.
a wealthy new... here we go again.
Here we go
Nothing's
again.
changed.
A wealthy New York City investment banking executive, Patrick Bateman, hides his alternate psychotic ego from his coworkers and friends as he delves deeper into his violent, hedonistic fantasies.
Ooh.
And that's the movie. All right, let's go home.
Sounds fun.
And the name of the movie is?
American Psycho.
American Psycho.
American Psycho.
American Psycho.
Stay
Let
away
it
from
rabbit.
me.
Yeah.
That's
It also
not...
sounds like a rock band, doesn't it? Like
It does.
a punk rock band. American Psycho.
I used to hear them when they were underground.
When
in
they
his
were playing-
garage.
Yeah.
So, pre-thoughts?
I'll
Love
go.
to hear them.
This one's been a long time coming.
I'll
So
go.
it came out in 2000. Christian Bale stars in it. Leto, not Jay Leno.
Jared Leto.
Jared Leto is in it. And so is what we were talking about earlier. What's
Josh Lucas,
Josh Lucas.
Reese
And the
Witherspoon,
right-
Reese
Writer-
Witherspoon, who plays
Chloe.
a very minor role.
and
Chloe Sevigny,
and the writer.
I don't know who that is.
Houston Theroux.
Jean.
Yeah, the writer of Iron Man 2 and Tropic Thunder.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wrote the script?
No, he's in the movie.
Oh, in
Huh?
it. Yeah.
Who?
Who wrote the screenplay?
Justin Theroux. Oh, who wrote this? It was the director.
And it was based
Harron.
off
Mary
of...
Harron?
Yeah,
was
she
ba-
co-wrote it with
Genevieve.
Je ne sais quoi.
Genevieve.
Guinevere Turner.
Yes.
So,
it's
free
season
thoughts.
3, and we're still annoying.
You got worms?
Anyways.
So, pre-thoughts, Travis.
I had heard about this movie for many years, and I didn't watch it until this time.
Wow. You came prepared.
I told you,
Succinct.
I've been waiting for weeks.
So, was this your first time
Weeks.
watching it?
Yeah, this was my
mean
first
years?
time. No, I'm just joking. I said because between seasons, I've been waiting. I'm like,
Are
my
you
men-
literally saying you never saw this movie?
never saw it. I didn't know.
This is the first time you've watched it?
Yep. And I will
I'm
tell you,
shocked.
Dan, and I will tell you this. I actually didn't know. I knew Christian Bale was in the movie.
You know Christian Bale?
Other than that, and I kind of thought his name was Bateman. Other than that, I honestly knew nothing about this movie.
Cool.
You thought his first name was Bateman?
I said it was somewhere in his name.
I am very excited to talk about this movie all of a sudden. Go ahead, Sam. Pre-thoughts? Chew up those peanuts.
She has a sticker of it.
Blistered nuts from Trader Joe's.
Yum.
Didn't you?
Our new sponsor for season 3, Trader Joe's.
Don't say that.
Oh, I thought you were going to say nuts.
Why not?
Because it's not true.
We're manifesting
now
it.
it's not true.
We're manifesting it.
We're gonna get cease and desist.
I had heard about it years ago, and funny story.
We'll be the judge of that, but go ahead.
I don't remember the year exactly, but I was over at his girlfriend's house, Jennifer, who's actually my best friend first, and then his girlfriend second.
Yes.
We were gonna hang out. So me, her older brother, and her younger brother were all just in the house, and then it came on TV. It was on cable. I was like, "Oh, I've heard of this. Let me watch it." Didn't realize the content of the movie, and her younger brother was like 7 at the time.
Oh my God.
So I was like, "Oh, leave the house." And then her mom would walk in and out, and I'm like, "This is not a good idea." But I was so invested, I kept watching it, and that's it.
That's a good story, actually.
Yum.
Yummy.
And don't you
Frank,
have a sticker for your
Pre-thoughts,
water
and
bottle?
when did
I
you
sure
see the
do.
movie the first time?
How do you know that I saw the? Oh, yeah.
You could be like Travis and just have watched it yesterday.
I watched it now. No. The first time I knew, had heard about this movie was when I went to the video store to return some videotapes.
La video
And,
Videoteca.
I saw on the wall the poster for American Psycho 2 with Mila Kunis. And I was like, "What's that? That looks
Cool.
Horrible.
No, it looked like a slasher film poster, and I didn't really, I didn't play with slashers at that time, so I was like, I'm gonna stay away from that. And then I got into slashers, and I was like, fine.
The biggest question I have about that,
Yes.
biggest concern,
Yes.
was American Psycho 2 sitting next to S. Darko and Butterfly Effect 2.
I don't think S. Darko was out at that time.
No, none
I'm
of those
just
were out,
joking,
but
yeah.
you know what? They probably belong together.
It's probably a triple pack at
Wow,
Walmart
that was
somewhere.
a deep dive into something that probably nobody gets.
You know, William
Everyone
Shatner
except
was
for
in
you
American
does.
Psycho 2.
So my question then is,
Yeah.
He was
when's
also in
the
Airplane
first time you
2?
saw American Psycho?
He
The
just
original,
explained
not
it.
Answer the question,
I'm staring
Frank.
at you now. I don't remember, to be honest.
Had it been-
It's been a while.
You've
It's
seen
been
it a
a
few
while.
times? Have you seen it a few times?
yeah.
So it's been
yeah,
a while.
100%. I saw it twice before this podcast
Oh, okay.
this week, and then once like a week ago.
Get in your final thoughts, why don't you?
Was that why you were
Okay,
like, oh,
so my pre-thoughts are, I absolutely knew what this movie was. I had not seen it. I'd heard of it. I knew when it came out. It was always a movie that I'd heard a lot about. I knew it was based on a novel. I knew the novel was considered to be highly controversial. I knew that the movie was considered to be highly controversial. But for some reason, I never saw it. I'm not exactly sure why. Probably just didn't get around to it, or my kids were still young, so I was still seeing those kind of movies, and just never got to it. I'm glad that I'm glad it was picked, because I actually really wanted to see it, because I knew a lot about it without really actually knowing the plot and everything.
can you recount the story of how we switched from one particular movie to this and what you said in the text?
Oh, I have that screenshot.
I'd be happy to. I'm so shocked nobody responded to my text.
Because I was
You guys
insulted.
all ignored it.
I was
like,
insulted.
Oh, that Dan.
No.
He's being so silly.
Dan,
That's silly old
I
Dan.
screenshotted it because I was insulted by what you said.
Oh, yeah.
I
It
was very
funny.
upset.
I think I
But
hung
don't
out.
you know I was making a major joke?
Yeah, you
right,
are a
but
major
you
joke.
insulted him more. I hung out with him the next day, and he was like, I can't
Wow.
believe he said
was
that.
so
wow,
mad.
Travis.
You know what he said, right, Frank?
Yeah, 2-hour cartoon.
Yeah.
You know the key word, the triggering word?
Cartoon. Of course. He said, Frank said I wanted to do, because Frank said, have anybody watched Unsaid Movie?
Yeah,
And Sam responded no, I responded no, and Frank said, okay, can we move that movie off and put American Psycho in? And we both said yes. And then you asked why, and he said, well, because I want to stick to the slasher idea. And then I said, I thought maybe it's because you realize you're going to make us watch a 2-hour cartoon.
You can just say the name of the movie, Shrek the
Which I
Final
thought was
Shrek
frickin-
the Final Chapter.
Which I thought was freaking hilarious, because obviously it's not a cartoon. I was trying to make a joke, and you actually got offended by that?
I was deeply
You know
offended.
who you're talking to?
Animation.
Yeah, I know who I'm talking to.
Animation is its own medium that you should respect. It's not just
Yeah,
for kids,
bitch.
and it's not just cartoons.
I can't wait for us to actually see that movie, said movie, because when we do, I have a lot to say about that particular genre. A lot to say.
Well, watch the movie first, and then
The movie might be really good, and I might really
This
like
seems
it.
like a threat.
all right.
But
all
I have a
right,
lot to
let's-
say about that
let's-
genre.
To be continued
But
next
not
week.
based on the movie. The movie
So-
might be really, really good.
So
Which I'm
overall,
totally open to.
overall,
Okay.
The fact that it's over 2 hours, I mean, freaking Beauty and the Beast is
Okay,
85 minutes long.
Let's go into American Psycho. So before that, someone pointed something out to me. One of our listeners on the podcast. It's something apparently I did, and I didn't know I had a lot of trouble with this word. So I'm going to say it now because I know how to say it right. American Psycho is an adaptation of
Adaptation.
a book.
How do you say? Why do you say?
Adaptation.
Wait, how do you say it? How do you-
Apparently, I would.
Adaptation?
No, apparently I would say. Apparently, I would always. Anytime I would say that word, I would say adaption
Really?
It's
I
an
never
adaptation.
noticed that.
or adapt.
It is not an
Adaptation.
adaptation. It's an It's an
He's saying adaptation, but it's adaptation.
adaptation.
So you're
Yeah.
missing a chunk of the
I'm
syllable.
missing a chunk of the word.
I've never
Adaptation.
realized
Yeah,
that.
someone
not
because
adaptation.
we were talking with
adaptation.
You were talking, and they were like, "You're having trouble with that word again." I was like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "You say it wrong on your podcast." I was like, "I do."
When do you ever say that?
Apparently, I've said it. But
What
anyways,
adaptations
Thank you,
have we
loyal-
done?
thank you, loyal
we're
listener.
starting season 3 pretty grumpy.
No,
So
we're
let's-
starting. We're starting
Thank you,
season
only
3.
loyal listener.
No, we're starting season 3 with some self-awareness, and I appreciate that because that leads to this movie.
Yeah, so now at the end, I'm gonna
Oh,
go.
boy,
but
does
I'm-
it ever.
Now in the end, I'm gonna start. For next week, I'm gonna come here to record this episode, and I'm gonna knock on your door, and it's gonna be some random person in here, and they're gonna be like, "Are you my 2:00 appointment?"
What the fuck are you talking about?
Never mind. We'll get into it later.
I think this movie deserves a little bit more of a.
Background?
Let's talk about the plot a little bit, because I don't feel like your description covers it well at all.
Okay, but that's not my description. First of
I'm
all,
just saying I don't think that. I think for context we need to actually do
Go.
an overview
You're
of
up.
the plot.
You're up.
Well, without commenting on what it all really means and what we really watched in terms of the layers, just the basic idea is Christian Bale plays this guy, this whole sort of these investment banker guys.
In the 80s,
I guess so. I was
late
trying
80s,
to figure
I'd
out.
say like 87.
Yeah. Who basically is a
Shell of a
again
man.
for slack. Well, I'm going to go basic plot straight up. He's a killer. He's a what do you call those?
Serial
a
killer.
He's a serial
Well,
killer.
but the thing,
He's a
serial.
serial killer. Again, we're going to discuss all about the movie. I'm just saying straight up, just on a very basic level. He is a serial killer who
Kills.
is acting out his aggressions, frustrations, whatever his personal issues are, and seems to be getting away with it very easily, which we'll talk about, along with many other things about this plot. And
by day,
he's
he's an
a-
Ivy
he's
League
an
bro. He's like an Ivy
he's an
League.
investment. He's an
Yeah.
investment guy.
Yes.
Along with his buddies. So that's basically the idea. I mean, we'll talk about the basic stuff that happens throughout the movie and the layers and everything else of what the movie's really about and what the metaphors are and all that stuff.
Yes.
And minor detail that
But it
I
was
think
based on a novel, which again I think I said earlier,
Called Push by Sapphire.
was very, very considered very controversial.
Oh, yes.
And then the movie came out, which I think even made it even more controversial.
Oh, yes.
But
The journey.
I'm excited to really talk about all the layers of the movie, the story, and what it actually
18
means, the
layers.
metaphors, the allegories, and all that stuff. I think that's
Yeah.
way more interesting than the
So-
actual plot.
It's a very meaty
so I'm gonna
The
film.
plot itself is not that complicated.
I'm gonna
honestly.
No,
so
it's
I'm gonna call it right now. If you
a lot
have
of killing.
if
Let's
you
put it that way.
if you are
a lot
still
of dancing,
listening
too.
and you have not seen the movie, stop it now because we're gonna
Dance.
spoil everything going forward. Because I know you sometimes what we do is like, well, I mean we don't give away every plot line,
this is
but
like
we talk about
30
the
years
ending.
Later.
I
It's
know. I'm just
fine.
saying I'm gonna
Yeah,
discuss the
like,
ending
if
right now.
If we're spoiling this, then you're
You're on your own.
I will say this though. I think it's very important to point out that this is a black comedy.
Yes.
And if by definition our listeners don't know what that means, it's a very serious subject that is handled in a comedic way,
It's like a satire
which
almost.
makes it
Yeah.
even
Yes.
more disturbing, honestly. But it is definitely a black comedy.
and it doesn't draw
And I didn't need to read that ahead of time to know what I was watching. It's very obviously
and
a
it doesn't
black
draw
comedy,
particular attention to its humor. It's kind of just there and it plays it
Yeah.
straightforward.
which I think
Which
is
is
also
great.
Which
a
works.
very, but it's
And I
also
think those are
black
the best
comedy.
kind. Yeah, that's what makes it. You know, it's not drawing attention to itself. Why am I grabbing your phone?
Oh, is that what you're grabbing?
You've got
Okay.
a nice place.
Welcome to
Paul.
season 3. All right. So, anyway, let's talk. Who
Yeah.
wants to jump in? Great, go.
I don't know. Like I say, I don't know where to start because, like I said, I've only seen this once now.
Okay, we can
What
start
did you
with
think of the
the
first 10 minutes?
The first
Did you
10
know it was a comedy going in?
Okay, so
How much
me-
did you read ahead of time before you
I
watched
only knew I will say I knew of one scene in the movie because
Which is what?
Because like always, y'all were making fun of me one day when I was talking about Legos, and you were like American Psycho, and I'm like, what are you talking
true.
about?
What are we talking
Yeah,
about?
we did.
So
His
Oh,
exfoliating mask and
the
So
everything.
routine.
the exfoliating, they said that was me because one day I was.
Oh,
We were here. I think
explaining?
we were setting up for the podcast, and I was explaining, and I was going on about how when I do Legos, I open up the bags and I organize all the pieces, and I have little bins I put them in. And then Frank's like American Psycho. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I mean, I will say this: just knowing a movie's called American Psycho, seeing Christian Bale and then Bateman, it didn't surprise me that it was a dark comedy. It was, like I said, it was a little more humorous than I thought it was going to be because I didn't know anything. But I was like, no, there's probably going to be some kind of humor in this.
Yeah.
But what I did find interesting, and I did know one thing going into the movie because someone had told me about it, was where Christian Bale got his performance from, which was Tom Cruise. He was mimicking Tom Cruise, I think.
And Trump.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was saying it was Tom Cruise in a specific
David
interview
Letterman?
of David Letterman, and that
Yeah.
kind of energy is where he drew it. I saw it a little bit, but I don't know why. For me,
No, you're talking about his with Whoopi Goldberg. He jumps up and down the couch.
No, it was
no, because that
before
was after. That was
Before that?
Oprah. That was
Way
Oprah,
after.
not Whoopi Goldberg.
I'm sorry, Oprah. I meant Oprah.
No, because this movie came out in 2000, and that was like 2005 or 6.
Okay.
But I didn't see that as much for me personally. So it was a little distracting for me a little bit, and I think it's only a me thing. Is I don't know why, for me, when he would speak in that voice, for me it reminded me of like a Jim Carrey character. Like
A little bit, yeah.
Like I almost thought of Jim Carrey in The Cable Guy. I was thinking of that, so I found it a little distracting a little bit. But one oh, sorry, go on.
No, finish because I want to jump in when you're done.
That I'm just gonna. That's basically it.
At some point, maybe after we've all kind of gone through our jump in point, I would like to talk about Christian Bale
Go ahead. Let's do
as
it now.
an actor.
Let's do it right now.
Well, let's do it after. but
Let's wait because
I-
it's not going to go anywhere.
I do have a fun fact.
Sure.
So this movie, it's a Lionsgate movie,
Yes.
and so Mary Harron, the script went through a lot of different people because, like you said, it's controversial. So a lot of people didn't know exactly how to take on this subject, but Mary Harron took it on, and she had Bale in mind. However, Lionsgate was like, we don't want Bale because at the time he's unknown. So they're like, oh, we want Leonardo DiCaprio.
Interesting.
And
Yep.
at first, I think it was
oh, I could totally see that.
yeah, and at first it was someone else, director, and Brad Pitt in the talks as well.
I think
could
that
totally
was
see that as well.
David Cronenberg.
Yes, Cronenberg, and then he had the script first, but then there were also some creative differences, and he was like he couldn't handle.
He
the,
wanted 70 pages,
Right.
Because he said his average was 2 minutes per page,
yeah,
and so the writer of the book, Bret Easton Ellis, who was writing the script at the time, gave him like something that was double.
right, and then he also was like bored of his own book, so he was giving him some like outlandish shit.
Yeah, like the end
like
had
a musical.
Yeah, there was a musical number with Bateman on top of the
Roof?
I think Empire
yeah.
Empire State Building, something like that. But
And then Cronenberg was like, I'm not into that, so he
Yeah.
exited out. And then Mary came in and wanted Bale. Lionsgate was like, no, thank you. We'll pay upwards of $20 million if you're able to get Leonardo DiCaprio. She was like, no, I'm dead set on Bale. So they fired her. They brought in Oliver Stone, who could get
I
Leonardo
could totally see
DiCaprio.
Oliver Stone making this movie. Absolutely.
Yeah, and then again with the creative differences, so they both exited. And Lionsgate's like, okay, well, now we're back to Harron.
No one wants to do this movie.
Yeah, and then Harron said, okay, I'll do it, but I want Bale. And they're like, fine, begrudgingly, we'll get him, but we're only paying him $500,000, as opposed to like someone who's more famous getting $20 million. So that's what happened, and
This whole story, you never said the word, and then they bailed. I was waiting for that.
I'm not you.
Another fun little fact to add to that. Do you know who the producer is of this movie? It's our best friend.
John Leguizamo?
No, Edward Pressman.
Who's that?
Street Fighter, Christmas Evil. You know,
Love that guy.
our favorite.
It's The
The Crow.
To go
Oh,
back,
I
back
love
on
that
what you
guy.
said,
Oh yeah.
almost similar energy where I can see it. I was like, if they after the opening scene or after like 20 minutes of Wolf of Wall Street, if they would have had Leo killing people, I would have been like, yeah, this seems natural.
Yeah.
How did
They take place in the same universe.
I love the opening credit, like the credit scene.
Yeah.
I fell for it.
Yeah.
It was nice.
I was like, oh, it's blood. And I'm like, oh, no, it's a restaurant and they're cooking.
No, but I
Oh.
love the whole allegory of that. I
Mhm.
love the whole metaphor of that.
What is the-
Everything was blood. Everything. I mean, it wasn't
Yeah.
blood, literally, but that's what they were.
right. It's
That
just
was a great setup. I thought the opening credits were great.
right, just like fancy.
Yeah, it really set the story up really well.
If you like that, you'll like the credits for Dexter. It's a very
Oh, okay.
similar.
I can,
I
I can
love
imagine.
the song
yeah.
for Dexter.
I love that opening
Mhm.
credits.
And then I just like the beginning too. How
So-
they're, oh,
No, I was just moving forward. So that's cool, Sam. So Frank, what are your sort of jump in kind of?
Oh, yeah, do you have any additional?
Because I do want to chat about Christian Bale at some point.
I feel like without Christian Bale, I don't know that this would work.
No.
Like and
except
I
you
remember
could see Leonardo for
but
sure.
I heard I could see him doing it, but I don't know. Like I do remember hearing that a lot of people had difficulty getting the humor from the script.
Yeah.
And that when Bale came in, he got it right
Oh,
away.
yeah.
And Harron was like, yeah,
That's the one.
that's
Bale
the guy.
actually didn't want to read it first.
I can see
I think
that. Yeah.
He had like his coworker or his co-star from another movie was like, "Hey, please read it."
and where I think some of Christian Bale, I think some of the where you can really tell he understood the source material and did well. Maybe it was a little bit of directing too. Was that it was good? Was every moment when he would just switch on and off when he was talking about the albums, like Huey Lewis.
I
was
love
like,
those
I
moments.
don't know. I feel like, and I'm not saying any like discredit to Leo, but I was like, it would have been a totally different scene.
approach,
yeah.
And the approach I think would have been totally
No,
different.
I think Christian Bale was the right choice for sure for this script. I'm just saying I think Leonardo would have been able
Yeah.
to
and
bring something to this.
and
this
talking about
yeah,
bringing
script.
something to
it
it.
wouldn't have been a waste.
Did you
Yeah,
know
exactly.
that? Okay, and I knew this a little bit. I had heard too. So in the scene with William Dafoe, when they first meet William Dafoe and
In
Christian
the
Bale,
office?
and they're
Mhm.
talking in the office, and is asking him the questions. So they actually took two different. So they did the scene once,
They did it 3 times.
3 times.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then they took, but each time the director gave William Dafoe a different direction of how to approach the scene. And then when they edited it, the director took different pieces from all 3 of those approaches and put them together.
Yeah.
Like, I
Yeah.
think one of them was like, oh, you know that he was the one that did
Yeah.
it. And the other one was, I don't know what the third one was. And the
It
other
was,
one's,
he did it. The second one you suspect that he killed, and the third that you didn't know at all that he killed Alan.
yeah. So
Which I thought was
knowing,
really
and
cool.
so knowing that, I knew that ahead of time going into
So
the,
did you see it? Did you notice
yeah,
it?
so I was like, oh, this is a fantastic scene.
Yeah, I love
I
editing
think that
tricks
was
like
a cool, yeah, I thought that was a cool little director thing to do.
that. Yeah, Dan.
So when I tell you Roger Garland, you're going to perform it 4 times. All right.
I found both the scenes. I think there were 2, right? The office and the restaurant with Willem Dafoe. Just the
Yeah.
2 scenes. I found both those scenes really interesting, and somewhat confusing, honestly.
Pourquoi?
Because at that point in the movie, I was still trying to decipher: is this an actual mystery that we're watching in terms of we know who the killer is, but are we actually trying to watch the killer get away with it? Are we actually seriously watching William Dafoe trying to decipher what happened? Is he being introduced as a literal detective who's really trying to, or is this just part of this whole bizarro, tale that has layers way above of that? So I was. Yeah, I mean, I think if I watch it again now, having seen the whole movie, I would have a different take.
And I think
watching it cold, as you also did, I did not find those scenes really cool. I found them very, not confusing, but I was kind of like, I'm trying to decipher what's actually going on here.
But I think it's one of those movies where, I mean,
this was not a good mystery.
I know.
But again, it wasn't really
trying to be.
Now, by watching the whole movie, I understand that. At the middle of it, I didn't know that.
I know, Dan, you have strong feelings against what I'm going to say.
Okay.
Is that I know sometimes I say, well, you may not have caught it the first time, but it's something where if you watch it multiple times.
But you haven't watched it multiple times.
But
you watched it one time.
But I'm saying, I think the way, what I'm going to say is, because like I said, I had seen, I knew that going in. I'm saying, I think it's a movie with the way where it's set up, where it's kind of ambiguous. And if you watch it different times, because I think that what this movie does a very good job at doing is this movie, like, were all the killing, did he actually do all the killings, or were they in his head? Did he get away with it? I think there's very clearly set up where, like, you can see it either way. Like, there's evidence that suggests both.
At the end of the movie, yes, that is exactly the thought that's dropped in your head, but not in the middle of the movie. That's not what you're thinking about.
But I'm saying,
it does play it straight for a bit.
Saying too,
it totally straight. So I disagree with you 100%.
What I'm saying is, I think, okay.
Yeah, if you watch it a second time, sure. But you watch it one time, which you did, you can't make that statement.
But I'm just saying, like, I think, you can get different things out of it, or you just piece other things, or you see things differently, like when you see it different times.
No, I agree with that. But you didn't see it different times. You're just like me.
The point I'm trying to make is I'm going to say, well, now I want to see, because I agree with you. Like, William Dafoe, like his character's I was like, oh, I wonder now, knowing exactly what happens in the story, is if I watch it again.
So in other words, my thought was, sorry to interrupt, my thought was, is William Dafoe just being really clever?
Or like a Columbo?
Really exactly, a Columbo kind of character where he's just being, I'm just your best friend, and I'm going along with it. I know you did it. I just haven't figured out how you did it. That's actually not what plays out in the actual movie.
But here's the thing, though. But the second time you meet him is kind of when...
It unravels everything.
Everything starts unraveling. So I think it's kind of... Like I said, I just saw this, so I may not be exactly correct in this, but it's in the scene already. It's very close to the scene where then he goes to the guy's apartment, and suddenly the apartment's cleaned up.
Oh, no, it's way later. But yeah.
But so I'm saying, so the William Dafoe...
No, I think... I don't disagree. The only thing I'm disagreeing with is you're talking about like you've seen it 3 times. You saw it one time like me, and... right? Or did you watch it again after I watched it?
I've seen that scene a few times. I watched it a couple times.
Oh, well, then never mind.
Yes.
See, I don't think that's a fair statement to someone just watched it once then.
I'll agree.
So. But I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, I accepted what I was watching. Go ahead.
What I think is that the whole quote-unquote mystery of it is just like a small part of this film, and this is more of like a study of a man who's a narcissist, a serial killer, and like... So for me, I think Willem Dafoe, yes, he's a detective, but I think he's more of like a device that kind of, again, unraveled. Bateman, it's just a device to help him like move on. So for me, I wasn't really focusing so much on it's like, okay, what's going on here? It's more of like, or like mystery side. It's more of, okay, what he's saying is now triggering Bateman and making him lose himself.
It's an added stressor.
Exactly.
But when you realize, and I don't want to, because there are other things we should be talking about before we get to this point, when you realize what we end up with, which is what I really liked about the movie, I just took it on face value as I was watching it. When I got to the end, I went, okay. Now, I mean, I kind of understood what the movie was really about, but when I got to the end, I was like, okay.
That's it.
Yeah, I know, I get it. I mean,
elaborate.
Because there's a lot to talk about before we get to that.
Okay, so
we just jumping to the end.
Should we just rewind a little bit and then just?
Yeah, I think we should just not walk through the plot, but walk more through sort of the events of the
scene 1.
The sort of the events of his journey, meaning.
Well, I think his journey, like, very clearly, it's okay. So very clearly, his journey starts. You have the beginning scene when it's him and all of his coworkers or the different people in the investment firms. And I think what kind of triggers the whole event, the event of the movie, is that
The
they all
business
pull out
card.
their credit card. Well, I have a lot to say about that.
Which one?
The business card
cards.
scene.
The business card scene.
Business card scene is so great.
So
It's so freaking
Yeah.
I
funny.
can't believe
Yeah.
they prefer.
It's so funny.
So-
I love
yeah,
it so much.
Did you notice that they all have the same job title? They're all
Yes.
vice president.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think so. What now triggers it is they're all put down their credit cards and his card gets declined, and then it cuts,
What? His card got declined?
didn't it?
Not that I'm
No,
aware
it just
of.
they all put in their card and that was pretty much it.
Oh, because then I think they're all like, oh, it was only like $500. Like it
Oh,
wasn't
yeah.
even
the
that
food
much.
was only $500.
But I thought they were making fun of
Talk
him.
about a
I thought they
deal.
were making fun of him because his card got declined
no,
or
no.
something.
When the receipt came, like, oh, it's not that much. It's only $500, and then they all dumped in their
Which
credit
I,
cards,
it's
and that was
supposed to
it.
be funny in year 2000. Now $500 is nothing for a
Mhm.
dinner
That'll,
at Five Guys.
that'll get you a burger and
That
fries
would
at
literally
Five Guys.
be one guy's investment.
Yeah.
Be $500.
You can't buy Five Guys with $500.
Yeah. So after you basically, like it says, it starts out with like these investment bros, I'm gonna call them, like 80s, super hyped
Right.
up on coke. They're all they're like the rowdy guys you see at the bar, and
But they're also homogenous, so much so that
They're
they
all the
don't
same-
remember.
basically, well,
They'll mistake each other for each other, which
because
is hilarious.
well,
I love it.
because I think that plays into the whole theme where essentially they're all the same person.
Yeah.
Whereas it ties back to the business cards where they're all comparing the business cards, but at the end of the day, they all look the same.
Right.
With slight differences.
Exactly.
But I think so that now leads into it's actually, I'm not just a business guy because I'm going to explain in a psychotic matter how I deal with my exfoliating routine and how I
But
get ready in the morning.
That's such a great setup because, like,
it's
sometimes
fantastic.
sometimes it's like too much explanation, but this one's perfect because it shows how
Within
shallow he is,
Yeah.
but he's aware of it.
Yeah, and that's what I was saying, because it's like them, and I think like I said, like the first 5-10 minutes, you know everything,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and then you get the very, very throwaway line where they're like, his girlfriend Reese Witherspoon's like, "Why are you trying so hard at work? You don't have to. Your dad owns this company," and he goes, "Well, it doesn't
It's like,
matter.
I have to fit in.
I have to fit in."
Yeah.
And then basically they start comparing business cards, and
Just
he
great.
gets mad because people have better business cards than him, and then he goes to a homeless guy, starts making fun of him, kills the homeless guy, stomps on the dog.
That's rough, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering
was
how you would
rough.
feel about that because I know you've got a thing for like I would rather not see animals
Yeah.
harmed in a movie, but I think I fall in that same thought process as I would at the end of the day, things happen, and I don't know that we need to always shy away from certain things just because they're unpleasant.
I agree.
You know?
I agree. And
And they didn't sensationalize or make it into a spectacle. It was like
You heard it more
you
than
heard it. You know it happened. It wasn't fetishized.
I think doing that intentionally, obviously, in terms of how you're stuck with this character. This is the guy who's telling you the story. This is the guy who's narrating the story. You're following this behind this guy's eyes, this guy's psycho eyes. So by doing that, you are just sort of making this sort of grotesque moment into, oh, fuck, this is the guy I'm following for the rest, for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I can appreciate the dramatic effect of it. You
Well,
know what
because,
I mean?
yeah.
I mean, because it just adds more
It's
to it where you're going, oh,
and it's not just
God,
doing it
this
for
is my guy.
and it's not just doing it for the shock value. Like,
No,
look
no.
how gross
it was,
it's like.
it was
yeah.
not for the shock value. I think it was
Exactly.
more for the idea of, this
Which
is
is
the
why it
guy
works.
you have to follow. And this is
Yeah.
Our narrator.
this guy's a freaking psycho.
And it's American.
And a psycho.
Yeah.
And I think it's really interesting that you can have a character do that, but also I don't want to say he's likable, but charismatic enough that I'm not shying away from I want to see what happens next.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a trait of a narcissist. Like, they're charming.
And
Yeah.
going
so you want to know what road this is
Yeah,
going to
you
take
do
them.
definitely want to see what's going to happen next,
And-
for sure.
and-
Absolutely.
going with the narrator, I was almost their narration part almost. I don't want to say concerned me, but there was a certain part in the movie with the narrator where it's towards the end where Christian Bale kind of loses it at the ATM machine,
Oh God.
shoots the dog, shoots the lady, shoots the cops. Now he's being chased, and he calls his lawyer and confesses everything. But then,
Which, by the way, was a great speech.
yeah, and
Yeah.
then he wakes up, and then the next day, it's like, oh, he got away with it. He goes to the person's apartment,
Paul Allen.
and
Why
they're
are you
like,
jumping?
well, because
You're
there's
always
the
jumping
end.
to the center.
there's a
You're
reason.
missing
There's a
so
reason
many
why.
things
Okay.
you're jumping
There's a
Okay,
reason
then-
why. So, and then with the narrator, I was hoping, and I'm glad it's what the movie didn't do. I was really like, I'm like, narrator. I was kind of reminding me of Fight Club a little bit, and I was like really happy that what this didn't go into was the whole like, oh, what was the narrator? But all these investment people, the reason they were comparing business cards is because it's like he was actually all these people were just him.
Oh,
You know what I mean? And
Okay.
it's where I was concerned because of the
Isn't that
narrator.
12 Monkeys or something?
That's Fight Club. It's a bunch, and that's why I'm glad with the narrator. So that's why I got nervous when I saw the narration and it was unraveling. I was like, please, I hope the movie does not turn into
Well,
this.
I get
will,
you.
I
I
will
get you.
say I
See,
found
there is a point to my tangents.
I will say two things about the narration. One, I thought it was really cool, like the writing of the narration and the concept. But two, it made me highly aware of it being very much based on a novel. And that I'm sure when you read the novel, which I would actually really like to read, I'm sure it's all written from his point of view.
Which I didn't know
I'm
was
sure the entire thing is written that way. Like, and whereas the movie kind of uses that as a way to kind of get us, sort of walk us through the story, I'm sure the novels go 100% written from his point of view.
Oh yeah.
I think I read a little bit of it, but I think I stopped because I don't know, something about the author, Bret Easton Ellis. I think he's a narcissist himself. So I
You think so?
I think so.
Well, the novel's supposed to be very controversial and
Yeah.
disturbing, and I'm sure it is.
Right, and
It's
I
even more
know
misogynistic?
he's-
I think it's
There's
really
also
disturbing.
another movie that was made based on his book, and I think Mila Kunis was in that one as well.
Which one?
I don't remember the name of it, but like I don't know.
What was it about?
I don't fucking know, Travis.
I don't know. I'm just trying to unravel.
So I want to I would like to talk about Christian Bale.
That's what it's called when you leave
It's-
church early.
It is interesting for me. Every time I see Christian Bale in a movie, I'm always really aware of his acting choices and his cadence, the way he delivers lines, the way he approaches his characters. I don't really find it honestly that different from movie to movie. I think he's got a very similar way
Really?
of delivering dialogue and the way he kind of emphasizes or his cadence, whatever you want to call it. I'm not judging him whether good or bad acting. That's not what I'm talking about. But I do find it interesting. I find him interesting. I'm not sure how much I really appreciate him as an actor.
Wow.
You wouldn't see a
And
movie
I've
because
seen a
Christian
lot
Bale's
of
in
his
it.
movies, but I always come up with the same result. I always feel like he's very aware of how off-center he's being.
I liked
as
him
an
in
actor.
310 to Yuma.
He was so, but see, that's not typical Christian Bale
Did you watch The Fighter?
acting. Yeah,
Did you see
to me that's
Equilibrium?
not typical.
Because Equilibrium
But
is
then,
not
so
typical.
What else would you say is?
I would say his performance in what's the movie about the investments firms?
Oh, The Big Short.
The Big Short
He was in that one.
is
Yeah.
very similar.
He was in Vice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. I'm
I
not
heard he
saying.
was
I'm
good
not.
advice.
Look. He's obviously very talented. Obviously, I'm not here to denigrate or challenge his talent. I've always been very curious about is just the way he delivers his characters, and he's always been very clear about he is very engaged with. He likes the human struggle. That's the characters he chooses. That's what he wants. It's great. I have no problem with that. But I don't know. There's always something
So-
about him that keeps me kind of on the outside. I always feel like I'm watching him act.
So season 1, we found out.
I don't see him. I always see Christian Bale acting. And look, Batman. I mean, look, I've seen so many of his movies, and I would never not see.
Have
a
you
movie
seen The
'cause he was
Machinist?
in it? So I'm not trying to say that, but I feel like I'm in a room full of people who just worship him. So I apologize.
I mean,
It's not worshiping.
I don't think he's that. I think he's okay. I
Right,
think he's
I'm-
interesting, but not
I hear you. I
very
just
aware
don't.
of his acting. I'm
Right.
always very aware of his acting.
I don't agree with you, but I understand where you're coming from. So
Sometimes
But
an
you're
actor
There's
also-
just
nothing
doesn't-
very
this is
natural
your
about
last
him.
episode. Thank
well,
you
I
so
will
much.
say this, Dan. I'm kind of in the mode where it's like
You may leave.
I don't.
Your own home.
When I watch a Christian Bale movie, I'm not like I'm aware of his acting, but at the same time, a lot of times too, I'm like, oh, Christian Bale's in this movie, but like a lot of times I'm like, oh, he was great, or oh, I gotta watch this movie because Christian Bale's in it.
Right.
I was like, if he's in it, I'm like, oh, that's cool, but
He's been in some really good movies. So
Yeah.
it's not that. And I thought his performance in this,
Thor: Love and Thunder, of course.
which was
he actually had a good. He didn't do
he
anything
was
with
the
it,
best one in that
and
movie.
they
Yeah.
did nothing
and
with
what?
him.
I'm not sure I saw it.
Thor.
Thor: Love
Love and Thunder.
No, I never saw it.
That's
He
fine.
was
You're not
actually,
missing anything.
he was actually
You had a
like the only
very-
good thing about that.
Play.
He was the
A
villain.
The villain.
You had a great introduction to a villain and how he became the villain, and then he just kind of disappears, and he just kind of
Pops in every
reappears.
now and then.
I will say also this about him. I sense, and I also know stories. He's not somebody I really want to hang out
Well,
with.
No.
Did you hang out with him on
I-
the set of Terminator
I mean,
Salvation?
like, really don't want to hang out with
I
this
hear
guy.
mixed
I've heard
things,
some really, really not nice things about
there
him.
was the
Yeah.
whole thing
But
with
that's also that quote actor thing about him.
There-
I think
He
it's
is a
part of
method
it.
actor.
well, there was the whole thing too.
Maybe.
Speak into the fucking
is
mic,
the whole,
Travis.
remember, like, what was it like? Oh, it's been like 15, 16 years now. There was the whole like on-set audio that leaked.
Oh, yeah.
With Christian Bale and Terminator
Yeah.
Salvation, where he was like yelling at like the lighting guy or
Yeah.
something like that.
No,
Don't be
yeah.
I think it's
your
the-
fucking lights.
He was.
I don't-
He
yeah.
was moving lights while they were doing something. Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like I wasn't in the room, but I kind of understand like if they're trying to,
Film.
work a scene,
Yeah.
it might be distracting.
I hear 50-50
But there's
where
better
like he's right. Like it's not an excuse where you can treat people like that on set.
No, of course
But
not.
I've also had coworkers who've met him because he came to like theater and stuff, and he was like a sweetheart.
I have a feeling that I would agree with that, and I have a feeling that acting with him
Yeah, that
different.
he's probably
Different,
great. No, I
right.
mean I think he's probably great to work with as an actor. Probably not so great to direct. would
He's
be my
probably got a
guess.
short
Yeah.
fuse. Let's be honest.
yeah.
Probably not so great with the crew.
But I've never really heard great things about method actors.
Which don't do, please.
It's a different world for sure. But I mean, I've
Respect
heard
your
this thing
crew.
about Russell Crowe. There's a lot of actors that you hear
Jared
about,
Leto.
like,
Yeah.
not the greatest
Daniel
with,
Day-Lewis.
with the crew.
yeah.
Daniel Day-Lewis, absolutely.
Mhm.
Jerry Lee Lewis.
But I think if you're an actor, a lot of these actors that we're talking about, if you're an
Yeah.
actor with them,
Yeah.
they're fine.
Dan Davis.
Anyway, I'm the worst, as you know.
he's the worst.
I'm the worst.
at acting.
Oh,
Wow.
I'm joking.
Wow, that-
Dan, that's where you go. Yeah, well,
That's
my reel's
dumb.
got something to say about
No,
Yeah.
Dan, I will say this. I got some compliments from your reel. People are like, "Oh wow, Dan has some range. It's good." No, that sounded so sarcastic.
They let him out every once in a while.
that
wow,
sounded so
Dan has
condescending.
range.
No, they were saying it's a good reel. They were saying it's a really good
Yeah.
reel. Like it
Oh,
demonstrates.
we
you-
can act
you put
aside
it
from
together,
Roger
so-
Garland.
You're really patting yourself on the back, but
You're the one who did the work. I
Can't believe.
But
they
anyway,
prefer.
moving on, obviously, but just the whole Christian Bale. I guess I found this performance in this movie. I was very self-aware of of his acting. Very self-aware of it. I was not lost in his performance at all.
But
in
maybe-
fact, when he got over the top, I was like, dude, you're just so fucking over the top.
But do you think also it could be like, right? Because he was acting.
The
Because
point?
he,
Yeah.
like you said, he
I
wasn't.
think it was.
He doesn't have any emotions, so he has to pretend to be a human being. So maybe he's so
But
good.
it still set me out of the movie a little bit.
I think the best example of that too is in the beginning when they're talking and he goes, "I think we need this in the world," and he just lists like all those things. He's like, "I think we need workers' rights and
Yeah.
like all of this."
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, I thought that
Oh,
was.
it's it was very like I'm woke.
But it was very much like kind of like this guy like obviously has like no personality. Like
Yeah.
it's him trying to now blend in,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the voice he makes because he's trying to like That's his
blend in. Yeah.
That's his. Hey, I'm gonna be an interesting guy voice.
I'm just
Yeah.
like
This
you.
is me being casual.
It
I'm
was
just like
definitely
you.
like a 10 facts you don't know kind of thing. It was,
Was it
Watch
Watch
Mojo.
Mojo?
yeah. I think that the thing that gets me about his performance isn't those moments. That they're great, but it's the little like moments in between, like the way he delivers lines, like when he's like he's trying to break up with Reese and he's trying to leave and he's like I gotta return some videotapes. Like
I love that excuse.
It's not like the turnaround and the delivery isn't like, and yes, I'm disagreeing with you, Dan. It's not the usual like, this is Christian Bale doing a Christian Bale thing.
And
like I get what he's saying because
So you're agreeing that Christian Bale does a Christian Bale
he's
thing.
got a Christian Bale thing, but I don't see it in every performance. But he does have that scowl.
No, I agree.
Like
I don't
he's
see
got
it
it
in
in
every
all the Batman
performance.
movies. That same scowl, and
That's
he's
what I
got
was
it here
about
too.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's those little moments, or like when he brings the Christine,
The first or the second time? The
the
hooker?
second time,
when he
yeah.
throws, when he
Sorry,
when
the sex
they go to
worker.
when they go to Paul Allen's apartment,
Mm.
and she's like, "Wow, Paul, this place is better than the."
It's
no,
not.
it's not really that.
No, and then I even like too when he's like talking about like the first time when they're in the apartment, and then he's like kind of showing off, and she goes, and he goes, "Don't you want to know what I want to
Oh,
do?"
yeah.
And they're like, "No," and then she goes, "Well, this apartment is pretty nice. How much do you pay?" And he goes, "That's actually pretty personal."
Yeah, he's like, "That's actually none of your business."
Yeah, none of your
Just-
business.
It's the little nuggets that you have to look for, Dan.
And I even like the subtle.
I got 'em.
I even like the reaction too when
I
he's
got the
like,
nuggets.
when she's running down the
Oh.
stairs and he has the chainsaw, and
I
he just
love
kind of
that part.
looks and he just goes, "I wonder if this will work," and he just throws it,
I love that part.
and it hits her. I was like, I've never seen that before.
I just love that laugh he did at the very end. Like, I got her.
Yeah. Do you think about that laugh a lot?
I
And
do.
where was
It's kinda
anyone else in
weird,
that
but-
apartment building?
They were busy, not
yeah,
being
I
murdered.
actually made a note of that.
Wait, what
Yeah.
happened?
He's like,
Where
she-
was everybody else in that apartment
she's
building?
knocking
He's
on the
ripping
door.
up that chainsaw, walking around
You know-
naked and bloody.
You know what though? And I kind of, with my apartment now, I've moved in like 2 months ago. Haven't seen more than 10 people in my apartment complex, so I don't know.
That's
For
okay.
me, I
There's
think
someone
it's
running
sort of
around naked with
For
chainsaws.
me,
and
I'll try that
it,
tonight.
it kind of supported the concept of this whole. There's a whole fantasy element to this movie
Mhm.
that you just have to accept and buy into, because if you take it literally, like this is literally a serial killer, literally, and a mystery, literally being you can't.
Literally.
You can't
Literally.
do any of those things because that's just not what this movie is. You have to very quickly let go of that, because if you don't, if you get caught up in that, like if you think that's what it is,
You're lost.
well, and you also, I mean, it's just not what it is. But I can see where some people might try and force it in that direction.
There's this one part when he finally invites Jean back to his secretary.
Yeah,
Invites her back to
my
his
favorite
apartment,
scene in the whole movie.
and they were talking, and then, excuse me, she was like, "Oh, I should leave. Do you want me to leave?" And then he's like, I might hurt you." What I've noticed, and unlike Travis, I've seen this like 3-4 times. What I finally noticed was that the conversation they're having is two completely separate conversations, because she's pretty much baiting him to say, "Do you want me to stay?"
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But he is outright being very straightforward, like, "No, I'm gonna hurt you, as in I'm gonna kill you." But she's
Right.
like, "Oh, he
He
cares
almost
for me."
blows her head off with a nail gun.
Right.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a very interesting
And then she's
scene.
I
so
will
mu-
say in that scene,
and then
pardon me,
she's even
Travis,
like, "Oh, well, we don't have to eat."
Yeah.
I'm
That-
like, "Whoa."
that scene was probably the only scene in the movie that I became really, truly emotionally invested in a way that I was like, please don't let this happen.
Mm-hmm.
Like the other girls, the other stuff, I was like, yeah, these people aren't going to survive. And I really don't care. I mean, don't care meaning I know this is where we're going.
No attachment. Yeah.
Whereas that scene, I was like, I'm really not going to be okay
'Cause you
if
care
this
for
girl
Jean.
goes down.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You know, and it was really well done. It was really well done. The timing of it and that whole, like you're talking about, the last part of it where he's like sitting there like, no, I think I'm going to hurt you.
Mm-hmm.
It was so well done.
I read somewhere, I don't know, it was like a continuation of the book or like a movie, but a second part of it was that he actually marries her, and then he has a baby with her. But I don't remember what it was.
What?
Do you remember? Did you read
The
about
baby
that?
was Mila
do not
Kunis.
know. No, actually, you know what?
No, it was a baby boy.
Can I just spoil that sequel because we're never gonna watch it?
Yeah.
So Mila Kunis's character is apparently, that movie starts off with her being a little girl, and her babysitter is about to go on a date with Patrick Bateman, and Patrick kills the babysitter, and Mila Kunis's character kills Patrick. It's like the
So she's
stupidest.
avenging.
Yeah, it's the stupidest setup
That
for a
makes
fucking
sense.
sequel. Yeah, of course.
Let's make it a movie.
Yeah, it's
Let's
dumb.
make it a movie musical.
But yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm.
I agree.
Thank you.
So what do we think about the ending?
I love it.
Starting where?
I don't know, just the whole thing.
Or just starting, the ending starting where?
When he's at the ATM, because when it gets a little bizarre, where it's like, where the ATM's like, oh, feed me the cat or whatever.
No.
Let's just say start there, where it kind of gets a little,
Where he just starts killing everybody?
yeah, we starts killing everyone.
And then goes back to his place and does his office, does the whole confession to his lawyer.
Yeah.
And the next day,
He goes to the apartment.
no, I don't think that's the first thing that happens.
Well, I'm just saying from that scene
Yeah,
and
it
on.
goes to the
From that
apartment,
scene and on. And then he
Um,
goes to the lawyer, and the lawyer's like, oh, that was the funniest phone call I ever had.
Oh, okay.
For me, that's when the movie just all made sense. That's, I mean,
How so?
just an understanding that not that like there was a part of me for a second that went, oh, none of this really happened. It was all just in his head. And then I just took it to a higher level and went, no, this is just about just total, rich sort of, vapid, investment people who don't give a crap about anybody else and just, you're my whatever, you're my plaything, I kill you, whatever. And then we don't even, we cover it up, we don't cover it, whatever. It's like, it doesn't matter.
And that's why it's like, I don't know if I'm like leaning too far into it, but I was thinking that too. And that's why I was thinking was that one line where they say, oh, your dad's pretty much the president of the company. I was probably like, oh, well, his dad's probably the one that fixed everything for him. Like his dad probably like talked to the lawyer and was just like, oh yeah, I know he called you, but just like deny everything, pretend you think it's a joke, pretend you don't know him. Also to the lawyer probably, the dad probably then owned that apartment or bought the apartment, hired to come in and clean everything up. I don't know. I don't know if I'm overthinking.
I
it,
think
but
you're
was
making
thinking,
more out of it. I think it's good.
For me, sorry, I think the one hint for me was when he went back to Alan's house or apartment, and then the realtor was like,
yeah.
but the way she said it or delivered it was like, I know what happened, you're fine, just go.
Yeah, just don't come back.
And it made me realize, like, this is like, it's just about people in high power that can get away with anything. And like, for the first time I watched him, like, what's going on? Why is all of a sudden, is he going crazy? But then, like, I realized, no, it's just about people with power and money. They can get coverage for anything, and they can get away with anything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I.
Yeah,
That's what I took
and
it
I was
as.
even thinking, oh, is that a code word when she was like, oh, you saw the article in the LA Times?
There's no LA Times.
There is no article in the
I love the line his lawyer said, because I had lunch with him twice in Paris.
in 10 days.
Oh,
I mean,
And
it's
that's
just
what
this whole and that's when I first went, I hope this isn't true, but is this all in his head and it
And
didn't
then-
actually happen? No, it happened. It's just that nobody cares. They just cover it up and move
Mhm.
on. I mean, it's like,
yeah.
we don't care about this. Is these scumbags. Doesn't
Yeah.
matter.
And
They're all
that's
rich and way more important than you are.
and so it's
Not
like,
only
Which
that,
is
but
why
they're
I think the novel probably
homogenous.
plays that out better. Better meaning, in reading it as a novel, where you know inside this guy's head, it probably has a better, not better, but a clearer journey. Go
and
ahead.
that's when I was getting worried that I was really hoping the twist wasn't that him and Jared Leto were the same person.
Mm.
I was like, no, don't do that, please don't kill this movie.
I mean, essentially, they
all
kind of
the
are.
same. Well, and
I
that's,
think
and,
they
and that's,
are.
And,
They're all the
they
same
all are,
person.
and that's the joke why they
That's
all.
the whole joke
where
with the
they don't-
business cards. That's the whole joke with them all sitting around talking about the same
all-
vapid stuff.
Yeah, and it's also too the same. It's the same thing too. Why they don't even know who they're always confusing
They don't
each
even know
other.
who they
don't
are.
even know who they are. And then it's interesting too. And then you get the whole thing at like the ending too, where it's like them
We-
kind of
it-
arguing over like Reagan, like, oh, is
Oddly
he?
enough, he comes to a higher understanding of himself at the end of the movie, of who he is and what he's
His
doing.
confessions mean nothing.
Exactly. And it's like, that's so... I thought it was really cool.
Yeah, I like that he wanted to be punished or get
And
some
then was
sort of
denied
like
that?
right.
Yeah, he
and
was
he's like,
denied it.
then what am I here for if I'm not getting a result or like
I know, when he keeps grabbing the lawyer and pushing him back,
Like,
said, dude,
right, like, I
I did
killed
this.
him.
Do you understand?
do something? Like no,
You're funny. Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick Bateman could never do that.
he's lame.
He's a wimp.
It kind of like takes away the power of the kills themselves, because it's like ultimately they're pointless and you're pointless too,
Yeah.
which I think is a really
Exactly.
strong way to end it.
It was a very strong message.
Yeah.
For sure. No, I mean, it's a very layered story. I mean, it's a very interesting. That's what makes for great conversation.
And that's why I want to see it again, too. Like, I'll see it again.
Absolutely. I mean, will I? I don't know, but I would
Eventually.
definitely watch it again if somebody wanted to sit down and watch it. It's definitely worth a
They
second or
played
third
a lot
view.
on Pluto TV.
There's a lot
they?
going on. There's a lot going on. But I honestly, I would really like to read the book. I think there's a
Yeah, I think you would enjoy it.
All right, we're
Yeah.
starting a book club.
So apparently in the book,
No.
Patrick's his neighbors include Bono and Tom Cruise,
Oi.
who live
Oh,
in
I
the
heard that.
Yeah.
I heard Tom Cruise was a neighbor.
Hey, is
That's
that
so
is
funny.
that Donald Trump's car?
No, Ivanka.
Is that Ivanka? Yeah, I know. Why would
Interesting.
Ivanka be?
The Trump references are pretty interesting,
Yeah.
right? All considering now,
Mhm.
really interesting.
Did you know that the movie The Rules of Attraction is loosely connected to this?
No, I did not.
Yeah. So Bret Easton Ellis wrote the book as well.
Maybe that was the movie I was
film
talking about.
Huh?
Maybe that was the movie I was talking about.
Maybe.
Was it Josh
What?
Hart did it?
James Vanderbeek,
There you go.
Jessica Biel,
Mhm.
Kate Bosworth. But the lead in that movie is Patrick's younger brother, Sean Bateman,
Jesus Christ.
which is followed through in both the book and the movie.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
That's
that might be
interesting.
something interesting to check out if y'all are interested
It's already in the bowl, isn't it?
that.
Y'all interested?
Maybe.
I forgot to mention. How'd you guys feel about that one bathroom scene with the other guy?
Oh, that was funny. It's like I've been waiting for this forever.
I thought it was funny too.
When he was like, "I'll call you."
I thought it was
I'll call
kind
now.
of out of play to the story, but I thought it was funny.
Mm-hmm.
There were some. Before we do a wrap up, I would love to just go around the room and talk about what were your most disturbing moments in the movie, because mine
Ooh.
were more subtle than I
Oh.
think the more obvious ones.
Mine was just, if I can go first, just
You totally.
the one where he was having a threesome and then Christine was about to leave and she saw blood.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
when
he
Oh,
just
yeah.
he's
popped up.
literally cannibalizing that
Right,
woman.
and he was just covered. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah, that was gruesome for sure.
What was yours?"
I have a couple, but I mean, I do agree with that one. But I think for me, they were like when he's like banging that woman and like flexing his muscles in
Oh,
the
yeah.
mirror and showing himself off. That whole sequence, and then later when he's like getting the scalpels out. No, we're not done yet.
Oh, yeah.
And then we
that
cut to
moment.
them leaving, and you don't really
Bloody
Kind of
see
rushing us.
you don't really
Yeah.
see what it is, but you're like,
They've
what
been
the
through
hell
stuff.
just happened?
And then
Yeah,
That was very disturbing.
yeah.
I think mine was the scene, not right after that, but the scene that follows, like when he goes back. It's like, oh, Christine. And
Oh, in
then
the
she's-
limo?
Yeah, in the limo. She's like, I don't want to go. She's like, I have
don't
to
wanna go through
She's
that
like,
again.
I might have to go to surgery, and then I might need a lawyer, and I might need that. And just the way
Yeah.
he keeps
Money
like
buys
luring
it.
her
Doesn't
in. I'm
matter.
like,
Apparently.
I said, I'll just buy you off. It doesn't matter.
oh, but you know what I didn't like? So you know what I didn't like? It took me a second, like thinking about it. Like after the movie, I was like, oh, that's totally like blood from the sheets department. He was at the laundromat and he was
That's
trying
the-
to. I didn't
Oh,
realize
this
it
is
till
cranberry
Yeah,
juice.
cranberry. I was like, okay, it's cranberry juice. And then when we were sitting here talking about the movie, I'm like, oh, that was totally blood.
Because it was right after the scene.
No, I knew it was blood
Yeah,
when we
because it was
saw it.
right
Fuck
after
you
the
too.
scene.
I think that's good.
It was right after the scene of when he met another, like the first woman. I forgot which one
Yeah.
it was, but
I think for me, that scene in the laundry with the bloody sheets, I think that was my first clue when I went, okay, we cannot take this literally. We can't take this story literally in terms of like, oh yeah, this is like, sure, I'll take my bloody sheets to the laundromat. No, you wouldn't. Nobody who murdered somebody would take their sheets to the laundromat.
he
So
has reservations at Hubert's in 15 minutes. So
And then
he's
how the-
gotta
and then
go.
how the
Yeah, I don't know
girl-
if I'm
and then
saying.
how
I
the
think that's
lady
where
just
we
comes
kind of
in.
went,
Yeah.
okay, this isn't like, we're not walking down a path of logic
Right.
in terms of
Yeah.
like a logical mystery. We're
Not
actually
like
trying
not
to.
like realistic logic.
Right.
Like
That's when it
grounded
gets
logic.
more into the
but I mean,
dark.
and I think that's an important scene
Hold
for
up.
that very reason.
Frank also hasn't talked about his most disturbing.
Yeah.
Okay,
Frank?
so I have to steal Dan's the one where they're
Flexing?
leaving. No, they're leaving after that encounter and like he's paying them, but like you can kind of see that they've got like bruises
Yeah,
and
And they're
little
rushing
flashes
out.
of
Yeah.
kinda
They're like
what
rushing
happened.
the way
out.
that they did that was really really clever.
So well done.
So to add to that, I want to add two scenes that made me laugh.
Oh,
in a disturbing way, I hope.
In number one was when he
You're
tried to get
disturbing me.
last minute reservations to Dorcia.
Oh,
and then
the-
Dorcia and like the
the
that
mistress.
scene was
the
so
person,
uncomfortable.
like,
With
just
his
laughs at him.
secretary.
Oh,
no. That scene.
and he just
that-
hangs up.
and then the scene after he kills Christine and his colleague,
Mm-hmm.
and he's at the table with Reese Witherspoon, and you can see him just like rude crayon drawing,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's
yeah.
like the,
The
most
chainsaw.
childish, like, oh, you're at Denny's trying to
Olive Garden.
yeah. I thought those were great, but yeah, that has to be mine
Don't-
too.
Don't touch the watch.
Oh yeah. Did you guys know it was supposed to be "Don't touch the Rolex," but Rolex.
They had to change it.
Yeah.
Rolex. A lot of people pulled out. Calvin Klein pulled out. Rolex pulled out. There were several
A lot of
companies
pulling
that
out.
pulled out of the movie because they. Well, that's the best way
wah,
to stay
wah.
keep yourself safe. I know there were a lot of different corporate
Yeah.
branding that just said no, we don't want to be a part of this.
Honestly, I've never really understood that for like companies that exist. I mean, I guess it's more of a legal thing that I just don't have any. But have you ever noticed in like reality TV shows, sometimes they'll block out the logos for cars?
Yeah.
That's
It's
because
like,
they're probably not paying for it. I
but,
would guess.
but you know what I mean? It's like
And they're not paying.
they
But I mean-
exist.
When I do like
Right,
when I
but
do like
also-
commercials and stuff, they'll block out.
Well,
they'll
yeah.
paint over the apple or
Yeah.
whatever.
Because they're not paying for it because they think it's like free marketing. But then to be more streamlined with this movie, it's like it's bad press considering the.
I think because of the subject
Yeah.
matter,
yeah,
you don't want to be associated with that.
I get it, but also
movie.
it's like
You're getting money.
I know. I just think I
Not
don't.
like Ghostbusters. Well, yeah, we want craft all over this.
I don't
thing
know that
because
we're-
this is fun.
Deadpool
I don't know that
DiGiorno.
audiences are dumb enough to believe that these companies are like co-signing on these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think
But
it's
I get
just
the legal
right.
aspect
I
of
just
it.
think that the
That's the image.
brands are just thinking
When it-
too much ahead. Yeah.
Well, because you gotta think too. It's like with a lot of these like Lexus, Rolex, like these luxury products. It's like they're not selling the car; they're selling the lifestyle. So they don't want the lifestyle associated with.
Well, it's like
I mean,
it's like.
I mean,
Are
I'm
they
saying-
wrong?
Hey,
It's-
no,
no,
I'm
no,
just saying
but
they
it's
don't want it
like-
too obvious.
What is the is it the pellet? What is the thing that you work?
Peloton? The heart
Peloton?
attack?
You know that whole thing
with
with
Sex in the City,
Sex and
right?
the City. I mean, they gave the okay to do it. Then they found out the guy died of a heart attack on the Peloton. Now Peloton's like outraged. Oh my God, what did we agree to? Because apparently their sales literally
Plummeted.
started to
'Cause people were
drop
like, I don't wanna
because
use the
people were like,
Peloton.
oh, people die of heart attack.
Okay, so I
That's
guess
how
audiences are that stupid.
They are that. They're literally that stupid.
That's so sad.
Absolutely, they are. And that's what advertising is. It's an impression
Yeah.
that you're giving.
and they're stupid for that, but also like when like a famous person is carrying one thing, something, and it just goes berserk, and people suddenly craze and go over like
Yeah.
Oh, it's so
You
stupid.
mean
It's
like
like
those
it's-
Stanley cups that were going for like
Yes,
$800?
so
Stanley,
stupid.
and, like, it's just-
Absolutely.
we're going off topic, but like the consumerism is just like fucking insane.
There were to get back on point though, and I agree. There were a lot of just really little disturbing moments all through the movie,
Mm-hmm.
which is one of the elements I really appreciated about the film.
You enjoyed it.
Also, this isn't
I did. I appreciate it.
this isn't disturbing, but it's weird to me when they were so obsessed with getting reservations. It was like towards the end when he came back to the seat after talking to the lawyer, and they're like, "I'm not hungry, but I just want to reserve something."
Yes.
It's like all
God
these,
damn it.
Was
Right,
they're
like-
never eating at these restaurants at all? Or was just hanging out drinking?
yeah, and the fact that they want Dorcia and then like the girl, I forgot her name.
Which one?
That drugged up girl.
Oh,
Good, because they don't.
Where she was like,
Not
I
Evelyn.
don't want to go out with you right now. Because Lewis is coming back and say, well, I have reservations for Dorcia. She's like,
Well,
I like that place.
That's the whole thing. Is like they don't care about the food. It's just the image, you know. Oh, like and that's too why he ended up killing Jared Leto, because not the main reason, because Jared Leto's like, oh yeah, I can get reservations at this place anytime.
I'm assuming Dorsia
Courtney?
is a real restaurant because all the other ones they named were real. I've actually been to some of them in New York.
Yeah,
Dorsia.
like which one?
Orso.
What was the
Is it good?
Mexican
Yeah,
food
it's
place?
great.
What
It's
was
an Italian restaurant, but it's not crazy expensive. I mean, it is expensive, but
What
Look
was
up
the
Dorsia.
Mexican restaurant too?
This was in New York, right?
yeah, all the stuff in
Uncle
Manhattan.
Bonnie's.
The Mexican restaurant? I forgot. It was
I
like a
can't
little
remember.
pun.
Ow.
The Orso is the only one that I knew. O-R-S-O. I've eaten there a few
I mean,
times.
Huh?
Was
What?
the only one that I
Go.
knew of the
Okay,
by
Jesus.
name. I'm assuming they're all
Wait, what
real
were you
since
gonna
that
say?
one was.
No, I was just gonna add one final little tidbit.
I guess.
The
Go ahead.
co-writer Guinevere Turner, she played Elizabeth, the girl who gets eaten
Literally.
alive. Yes, right before he kills Christine.
Mhm.
So that's cool.
Ugh.
Continue.
Yush.
I
Yush.
think we can go around to the little final thoughts.
A little rappy rap?
I'll go
A little
first.
rappy rap.
Huh?
I'll go first.
Go ahead.
So, as everyone knows, this was my
I
first.
love that you started that way.
This was my
every
first time seeing the movie, because
Which I think is really cool that you and
Well,
I, for the
and-
first time probably
and
in this
It's
entire
like 3
series,
seasons.
are
I knew-
watching a movie for the first time.
I knew eventually would have to see, but I just think it was. I don't want to say it was like overhyped. It's just like one of those I knew I would eventually see. It's like I'll see it maybe. It's just that it always been out, and I was just like, like I don't want to say I didn't have an interest in it, but I was just for whatever reason
It's okay if you want to say
kind
that.
of didn't have an interest in
There we
watching it.
go.
Like at the same time, I'm like, well, I'm not actively avoiding it, but I don't, because I feel like there were some people that kind of like, oh yeah, American Psycho, I love this movie, and there was like a whole stigma with it. I was like, well, I don't know. I guess I'll watch it eventually.
Is it one of those things that you didn't see when it was hip to see it, so now you're at a place where
I'm
it's
gonna-
like, oh,
I'm
whatever,
gonna-
everybody's seen it,
Well,
I haven't
I'm
seen
gonna
it, so I don't need to see it
that's
anymore.
The
I'm
weird,
not saying that in a bad
no,
way.
the
I have
weird-
movies like
the
that.
weird thing about this movie is I don't even remember when it came out. It was coming, for me, it was just like there. So when I found out, I'm like,
Well, you were
oh.
8 when it came out.
Well, I saw all the movies, but I was like, I feel like I didn't hear about this movie till, I don't know, maybe like 10 years ago.
So what's your final thought?
Oh, I'm just going to say, yeah, it turned into a whole thing. My final thought is I think, I had a lot of fun discussing the movie as a group with all of you.
Sure.
And I think it's a
I knew
great...
it would be a good conversation.
And I think, yeah, it's a great conversation film. So I can see why, a lot of people like this movie and why they discuss. It's like, oh, it's good at that. I think, I think it's a movie too where even if you're not particularly a fan of horror in general and you're not squeamish, it's like, yeah, people should watch it just so they can talk about it. I probably won't read the book.
Have you read any books that you weren't assigned to at school?
I read Captain Underpants.
It's funny. We were at a bookstore.
I'm not-
Oh, now you're all
I'm not
insulted.
kidding when I ask you this question. Have you ever purchased a novel
Yes.
without being
Yes.
an assignment?
Yes.
Yes, actually, I can be witness to that. Now ask him if he's read it.
Did you
Well,
read
that's
it?
the thing. That's why I'm putting on a hiatus now.
Answer him.
Did you read it?
I've read them before, but I have a big backlog right now. That's why I'm not going to purchase some new novels.
He purchased this novel 2 years ago.
My
Which one?
question,
The Alien one.
No, that was less than a year ago because we saw
Travis,
Die
Same
Hard.
I'm,
shit.
I'm not going to judge you because I will tell you a
I
story
am.
in just
I'm
a
gonna tell
second.
you
I
now.
can
Dan,
may I finish?
no, because I'm going to answer.
Please let me
I think,
finish.
I think he's being serious.
Have you ever purchased a novel that was an assignment of school and read it?
Yes.
What was it?
The Giver.
I read.
Actually, I don't care what it was.
No, I've read. As
long as you're
We
telling me
went
the
through
truth.
all of
Dan,
that.
I will tell you now. I have read books, and I've always said I do want to get into reading more. Like, I like it, and I'm not saying, like, oh, I'm not going to read the book because I don't want to read books. It's just for me, I saw the movie, and I was like, oh, that's enough. I don't particularly feel
I don't
like
disagree
I
with you on
need to
this.
read the book.
I
That's-
probably won't read the book. I'm
that's-
just saying I would like to.
yeah.
I know I won't
You
ever.
just want to make fun of me because you like making fun
no,
of me.
but I read novels.
Okay.
Okay. I read books.
I mean,
I don't
no,
read
I'm just
bo-
saying.
And
I
if
don't
you
read
don't read
books.
But I didn't
That's-
for
if
a
you don't
long.
like that book,
when-
that's okay.
But I didn't for a long time. I did not for
What
years.
made you start reading?
Well, Joni is an avid
Oh.
reader, so when we started, when our kids went off to college, we were flying a lot back east, and I would have these like 3, 4, 5 hour flights, and Joni kept saying, you should read a novel. This will So I said, yeah, you're right. So she started turning me on to novels, mysteries, which is what she likes to read. So she started giving them to me, and so I started reading them, and I went, oh my God, this is an amazing world that I have not been in for my entire life. So I got a late start into it, but now that I am into it, I really appreciate how really engrossing reading a novel is. Way more. I'm not saying taking away from movies, but it is such a different experience than watching a movie.
Well, Dan, I mean, when you were younger, the printing press was a new thing.
Okay.
But message of the day, everyone.
The Bible first came out.
Reading is good, everyone. We'll see you next week.
Oh, God.
For me, like,
Don't minimize.
I love adaptations, and
I like adaptations.
Adaptations, because, like, I'm sorry, just really quick. I like if I watch a movie first and then I know there's a book after or before. I like to read just to see what they've missed.
That's always fun.
But
Dan, no, thank you for telling me that, because like I said, I have said, like, and not because I don't think I'm just like, I should start reading more. It's been on my goal, so now you're gonna enforce me and make me read.
Are you gonna read on the plane?
Maybe
not.
Dude,
you know what's funny is all those books I bought, I just left them at work.
But Travis,
God.
do whatever you want to do, because honestly, and I'm not kidding, I didn't even start reading novels till like
I never
10
learned how
years
to read.
ago.
I started reading when I was 4.
Honestly,
Gay.
So I'm not looking at you going, oh, you should do this.
I know.
When I was
I'm
your
just
age,
giving you
I
a hard
wasn't
time.
reading novels.
You were smoking the
It's
paper.
just, you bet I was rolling. But I'm just saying, once I started, I just kind of went, wow.
It's never too
What
late
the
to start reading.
hell?
It
Why
really
did I
isn't.
miss out on this incredible,
Yeah.
journey?
But
It really is.
but I like to
now,
say,
again,
like-
I have to be well written.
Right. I don't think you should think of it as like it's late, because like if you started reading, force yourself to read younger, then you wouldn't really appreciate
Good.
it.
That's a good point. Really good
So
point.
that's how I see it.
So
what's your rating?
I will give this movie.
Back to, I'm sorry, if you're keeping notes, we actually watched, what was it, American Psycho?
American Psycho.
That great punk rock band from the 1980s.
We never talked
They were
about
so
that.
good.
By the way, when he just talks about the music. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, all his little factoids.
I loved the music. Loved his stories about the
You
music.
did, but when I referenced it before, you were like, what are you talking about? When I asked if you liked Huey Lewis. But anyways, I will give this movie
Always got to get the last jab in.
3.7
Wow.
trips to the video store out of 5.
Yeah. So, Frank?
Trips to the video store.
3 what?
0.7.
Okay. So here's the thing.
Here's the story, folks.
I watched this movie 3 times in the past month because I hate it so much. It's not funny. It's not disturbing. I don't like the performances. I definitely don't like the music. I think it's just all overly.
Wait, are these your final thoughts or my
dumb.
final thoughts?
I think anybody could have directed it better. I think anybody could have been a better Patrick Bateman.
A man could have directed it better, huh?
Oh, 100%. And see, it doesn't matter what I say because nothing means anything.
Wow, Frank, that was a hilarious voicemail you just left me. It couldn't have been Frank.
Just sit down, Travis.
I'm stretching.
Sit down, Sam. Sorry, everybody looks the same to me.
You're doing a joke.
Yeah. No, everything that I just said, the opposite. I'm going to have to give this movie, you know that scene where he kills Paul Allen, but just before he's explaining hip to be square?
Oh, I
And he
love
kind of jog dances over to the axe. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5
That
killer
dance?
jog
I
dances.
will say I love that song in a whole
When he
new
puts
way.
on-
Now.
When he
Hip to
puts
be
on the
square.
raincoat and starts dancing, that was freaking really, that
Oh.
was so clever.
Fun fact:
It was so fun.
they didn't include Jared Leto in that blocking scene, so that whole reaction was true.
His where are you over there?
Yeah,
Where's that?
and then turn around and then axe to the face. He didn't know that was gonna happen.
He didn't?
No, they excluded him from rehearsals for that scene.
That's hilarious.
Interesting.
Is that where he got method acting from?
Yeah, he's like, I should be a method actor from now on.
Damn it.
So, Sam, do you want to be the last one and wrap this thing up?
Sure.
Okay. I don't really disagree with anything that anybody has said. I really enjoyed the movie. I thought it was really interesting. I say I would like to read the novel. I know I never will, but I have a feeling the novel. I don't know that it would make it better, but I'll bet it's really interesting, because it's got to all be from his point of view, because you can tell just the way they kind of did the movie with his voiceover. I thought the voiceover was really clever. It's funny we talk about it's Mary Harron, right, who directed it.
Yes.
I don't know if a guy had directed this movie.
Quentin Tarantino.
I'm not sure.
Well,
how that would have been taken and reacted to. Maybe back then it would have been okay. In 2000, we wouldn't have really thought about it. Boy, you couldn't do that today, though.
It would have been worse.
Do you think so?
As is, they thought they had like Gloria Allred saying that this movie was like misogynistic and stuff.
It's so misogynistic.
no,
I mean, it really
She should have
is.
watched
It is, but
the
like
fact
that's
that
the whole
she
point.
directed it, that makes it doesn't make it okay, but it at least
some leeway.
Exactly.
Well, and that's where I'm wondering too, where you say, "Oh, the voice from the film," but I'm wondering, since like I said, the director of this one, and then the way it's written in the book, I'm wondering like how much is there like a difference in that tone of the narrator? Do you get what I mean?
Yes, I agree with what you're saying. I did appreciate the humor. Very dark, but I did appreciate. I really loved some of the scenes. I loved the the business card scenes. I loved the relationships between all those guys.
All the affairs, having affairs with this and that and that.
Yeah.
Oh, when they were
everyone's having
explaining
affairs. It doesn't even matter. Like they're having an affair with this person, but then they're cheating on that person with this person.
I thought
They're
that was
all
really
just
cool.
basically in the same.
I did really like the scene with Christian Bale and oh my God,
Gene?
no, and his girlfriend
Reese Witherspoon.
Reese Witherspoon when he's breaking up with her. I thought that was great. There's a lot of
I'll get new friends.
A lot of really fun, cool scenes. There were a lot of really gruesome, weird scenes. Joni asked me afterwards. She said, "What did you think of the movie?" I said, "It was really an interesting, sometimes cool, sometimes disturbing." I try to always remove the disturbing with just this is just really dark. This is just a really dark comedy. And it is disturbing, but it is also just that's the journey. I mean, that's kind of what makes it work. Honestly, I think the darkness and all the kind of gruesome stuff and all the really kind of shocking stuff is all part of the journey. So, or part of the approach to get the effect. So I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5. Nail guns.
Nice.
And that nail gun moment, I just sat there and went, please don't let this happen. She doesn't deserve this.
Why do you guys think she didn't, or he didn't, kill her?
Because she was like the only genuine character the whole time.
Yeah, I agree with you.
There was a moment where she mentioned Dorcia. That was the reason why he kind of thought about it, because it was like,
she's the same as everybody else.
Yeah, but she doesn't fall into that when they're at his house, and I think that's why.
That's
but
a good,
also after she says Dorcia, because that's kind of like she doesn't know what else to say.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when he does the whole thing, she's like,
or anywhere else.
We don't have to go.
Yeah.
Go anywhere. I don't care. Go. She was just that girl, that sort of. It was just.
But that scene of her looking through his planning book or planner and seeing all those, I was like, damn.
That was
the realization.
And I wasn't sure where that was going to end up going.
Yeah.
As it is, it just kind of left where it was. But yeah, absolutely. Sam, wrap us up. Take us home. Take us home.
Wrap it up, Sam.
For me, there wasn't really anything special about like how it was filmed, like cinematography wise, but I love stories when it comes to like study of human being or whatever, and
human condition.
Exactly, and like man versus self.
For sure.
And like we've all said, he's not a likable character at all, and we shouldn't watch it because of he's a horrible person, but something about him was charismatic enough that you want to know where it ends, whether it's good or it's bad. You just want to know. So, and then also I hadn't seen this movie for years, so seeing it again is kind of like a fresh eyes for me. And I've noticed a lot of different things, and it kept me entertained and kind of made me like the movie all over again. So I appreciated that. So overall, I'm giving it 4 videotapes out of 5.
Nice.
It's a worthy score, for sure. All right.
Damn.
This was
Fun,
This
exciting, thrilling,
was
exhilarating.
disturbing.
insightful.
Season 3 is starting
Off to
well.
a smashing success.
Mm-hmm. It's
So Dan,
revving up.
what are we watching next week, Dan?
Franklin, what are we watching next week?
We're watching
Akira.
Akira.
No,
that sound?
this is me staring at on the stair.
We're watching Akira, the seminal
Cartoon.
classic
The
anime
classic
film
2.2
that
hours and
brought
5-minute cartoon.
That's with credits.
anime
Calm down.
to the west.
I will say this, Dan.
Yes.
You will never see motorcycle slides, or you will see motorcycle slides. We'll talk about it next.
I'll
Just-
never see them or I
just
will
admit
see
that.
them. I don't understand your statement.
I was gonna start something,
You'll
but I said we'll
understand
talk
when you
about it
watch
next
the
week.
movie.
I was like, I don't want to talk about it.
When you watch the film,
The film.
Defoe.
Okay.
So yeah, thank you and stuff. Like, come back
Are you
or whatever.
shutting down, Dan?
I am so excited about
You're
this
leaving
new
us
season.
here.
Please like us, share us, comment,
And
subscribe,
Review.
Donate.
because this is Dan's last episode,
Take a
so
donate.
let's
Where's it going?
It has
I
been
don't know, I
great,
just-
guys. I just want to say these last 2 seasons, plus this first episode, has been a big joy in my life. And I'm going to miss you guys. I really am. And if you want to know if I'm going to be back for the next episode, I guess you're just going to have to listen. I'm Dan.
Travis.
I'm Sam.
I'm Paul Allen.
And this has been Strangers in the Alps, a movie podcast.
About
we
movies.
are
Wow.
out.